I'd like to welcome you all to our travel edition of our lunch club today. And today marks our first stop in North America, where we'll be taking a virtual trip to Greenland full of culture, history, and fun facts. And of course, our trivia at the end, where one of you will win a prize today. So I hope you all enjoy and learn something new. If you'd like to participate or share your thoughts or your comments or answer one of our trivia questions today, you must raise your hand in Zoom. So if you visited Greenland before, I just want to see, I'm not sure if any of you have, please hit more at the top right and then tap on raise hand. Anyone has visited Greenland before, or maybe know someone that has before. I have not, never been, don't know anyone that has been. But again, if you visited Greenland before, or if you know someone that has, please raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, one hand so far. I mean, hey, that's, I wasn't saying I'm not expecting any hands today for that question, but I'm always very surprised. Real quick, Anne, is it yourself or someone you know that has visited Greenland?
My uncle.
Okay,
Well,
well,
my uncle was actually stationed in Greenland.
okay, great. So some of the parts of Greenland you may already be familiar with, but I really appreciate you sharing that.
I remember
And in,
some of it, but I was kind of little, but I do remember him talking about it.
okay, wonderful. So for just everyone else, of course, and for yourself as well, Anne, again, if you'd like to participate or share your thoughts on anything that we covered today, please raise your hand in Zoom. You can tap more at the top right of Zoom, and then you can tap raise hand. So just to practice that for our, of course, for now and for our trivia, just please raise your hand in Zoom by hitting more at the top right and then raise hand. So thank you. And hopefully we'll have some more folks that come on throughout our session today. But again, we will be doing trivia as well. So please make sure that you raise your hand in Zoom. Again, if you'd like to just share your thoughts on what we covered today, and if you'd like to answer one of our trivia questions. So thank you for the hands. I really appreciate that. You all can hit lower at the bottom to lower your hand. I appreciate that. Thank you. So before we actually get started with our history, I know Lou, he loves to do kind of an itinerary and how to get there. So I'll be doing the best that I can because again, this is my first time learning about Greenland as well. So we're all in this together. If I pull up my Maps app, you can see the whole globe with it really. So if you see this is North America right here, we're in Washington, DC. And then if we want to travel to Greenland, we're gonna go northeast a little bit and look at right here. This is Greenland, this area right here. You notice how most of it is colored in white. You see the Greenland Sea, something called the Baffin Bay. And if you zoom in, you can see some of the islands, some of the different places where folks actually live. This is called Upper Nivik Island, Appet Island. Again, never heard of any of these. It's just really cool that you can look and zoom in and zoom out. What's up here? Okay, Naresland, John Murray Island, Svedrup Island. What's over here? Again, it's just cool to look at see what's around the world just by using your Maps app on your iPad. Shannon Island, Khan, or I don't even know how to pronounce that island. Sabine Island, Clavering Island. Wow, Ella, Yimmer Island. And it's on the Arctic Circle, the country, it's through it. There's a place called Nook, Cape Farewell, Christian Ivor Island or Ivy Island. Wow. Again, this is just so interesting just to look at the different places and how everything's actually situated. If you go to Google or if you go to Safari, if you go to your browser on your iPad, you can just do a simple search. Hey, what do you have to do in order to get from DC to Greenland? So I'm going to literally type that in the search bar, DC to Greenland, right here, and then I'm going to hit go. And just looking at the different options. These are, I think, round trip tickets. So starting from $13.93, around $1,200. So it's quite expensive to fly there. Look, people also ask, can you fly direct USA to Greenland? Yep, Icelandair offers flights from the US to Greenland through Iceland's Keflavik International Airport. Flights from DC to Greenland. This is Island Air's website. So look at that. If I'm going from DC and maybe if I just look, see there's Iceland right here, just to look at the different options. I'm departing maybe next week. I'm coming back the week afterward. So this is a one train. If I'm leaving, it's more cheaper to leave on a Wednesday or Tuesday or Sunday, maybe not a Friday. Let's go with this Monday trip, maybe. Let me go with that, and then I can choose some of the different options that I could do. So maybe let's do, again, I've never flown a plane, so I'm not sure, but look at that. Economy standard, continue with economy standard. So that's $419, and then you choose your return flight. So let's go with, let's see, this one right here. Oh, you have to choose the same one. So this, if you choose standard, the other one has to be standard. Okay, so a round trip ticket using these two times, if you're leaving on July 15th, you're coming back on Friday the 19th, it's $960 to fly. So I have actually never done a flight itinerary before, so that was quite a bit of fun. So, you know, $960, that's, you know, versus the maybe the 12, the 1300, you know, these are maybe, I'm not sure the best flight times, but hey, that's not too bad, especially if you want to visit. So yeah, you can go in the Maps app and literally look at the continent or the country or just wherever you want to look at. And you can use the internet, you can use your browser to search your flights if you want to visit the area or just learn more. So I hope you enjoyed just covering that as well and just learning more about how much it costs to fly to Greenland and just to actually look at Greenland as well. Okay, so today we'll be covering some history, some culture, some fun facts, and some trivia as well at the end for you all. So I hope you learned something new. If you haven't done so already, I certainly learned a couple of things just doing that itinerary and map. So first up is some history. So we have some videos on the history of Greenland. So again, I hope you enjoy, learn something new. And then throughout the session, I'll be asking if you have any thoughts or comments on the videos that we watch. But again, I have not specifically learned about the history of Greenland before, so I look forward to learning some new information. So this video again is on the history of Greenland.
The island of Greenland tends to be forgotten in the scheme of the world stage. Yet, the island has had a rather interesting history, and in this video, we will be looking at that history. The prehistory of Greenland was largely of Paleo-Eskimo cultures migrating from the Northern America. Because of Greenland's remoteness and climate, survival there was difficult. Over the course of centuries, one culture succeeded another as groups died out and were replaced. The earliest known culture in Greenland is the Sukkot culture, which is still the longest lasting group to have lived on Greenland. The Sukkot lived in tandem with the Independence I culture in northern Greenland, named after Independence Fjord. The Dorset culture appears around 500 BCE and lasts for around 1500 years. While their origins aren't well known, it is believed by some that the Dorset replaced the Sukkot, or many of the previous existing groups on the island. But the lack of bow and arrow technology, as well as drill technology within the Dorset, is a big sign that they have not come from these groups, as both forms of technology were widely adopted by previous Greenlandic cultures. By the turn of the millennium, Greenland is largely seen to have been uninhabited up until the 8th century, when late Dorset people crossed over, who lasted until the 14th century. Europeans likely first became aware of Greenland's existence when Gunbjorn Alvarsson was blown off course by a storm and sighted some islands off of Greenland. The date of this sign isn't exactly known, as the only mention is in Landama, an extensive telling of the settlement of Iceland from the time. Eric the Red explored Greenland while in exile, and came back to Iceland to get settlers, naming the land Greenland to encourage settlement. The sagas make mention that 25 ships left Iceland with Eric in 985, and that only 14 of them survived safely in Greenland. These settlements established 2 or 3 settlements, marked as the Eastern, Western, and the Middle settlements, even though the Middle settlement is sometimes combined with the Eastern one. The population was around 2 to 9,000, with more modern estimates figuring on the lower end. The economy was largely built around pasture farming mixed with hunting and fishing. The settlements traded ivory from walrus tusks with Europe, as well as exporting rope, sheep, seal, wool, and hides in exchange for much needed material, such in the way of iron tools, wood, which was largely from Norway, Iceland, or Labrador, food, and other important material. Trade ships would come once every few months, staying in port over the winter if the need arises. In the mid-1200s, all ships had to go from Greenland to Norway directly, bypassing Iceland. This caused some issues as many of the ships would be lost in transit, and had become nearly impossible once the Little Ice Age came, starting the following century. By 1350, the western settlement had been abandoned, both by the result of the increasingly harsh winter, as well as hostile contact with the native Thule people. After 1408, very few written mentions of the Norse remained. The last reported ship to reach Greenland was a private ship that was blown off course, reaching Greenland in 1406 and departing in 1410 with the last news, the burning at the stake of a condemned witch. Correspondence from Pope Nicholas V in 1448 called for a few priests and a bishop to be sent to Greenland from Iceland. The last mention of any Norse is from a German ship that landed in the eastern settlement in the 1540s, and found the body of a Norseman dressed up in native clothing. For nearly 3 centuries, no attempts to re-establish contact or settle on Greenland seem to have been taking place. The area was largely explored in search of the Northwest Passage, but all of them ended in failure. In 1721, a Norwegian missionary, Hans Egde, received a royal charter from King Frederick IV, granting them broad authority over Greenland, and commissioned them to seek out the Norse colony and spread the Reformation among its inhabitants. Hans brought 3 boats and established Hope Colony on the now-bound settlement of Kingiak. He went bankrupt 7 years later, and King Frederick sent a few dozen soldiers and convicts to aid in the colonial effort. They established Gotthab, the modern-day capital of Nuuk, in 1728. Various merchants were granted monopolies over Greenlandic trade and armed support to protect any settlements. Throughout the 1750s, over a dozen settlements were established in Greenland, largely around the southern coast. This was combined with Moravian missionaries that arrived in 1733 and started to convert the native population. They were so successful that by 1750 a number of other missions had been established all along the southern end of the island, with the last being established in 1864. Arctic exploration placed claims of Danish sovereignty over Greenland in doubt. Under the principle of terra nullius, huge tracts of territory were available to other nations. Denmark responded to this by slowly acquiring agreements recognizing sovereignty to all of Greenland from various countries. Norway eventually protested this and claimed Erik the Red's land in eastern Greenland during 1931, saying that only Norwegian whalers and trappers used the land. The Court of International Justice ruled against Norway 2 years later. The fall of Denmark in early 1940 increased the power and importance of the Greenlandic governors, but by the following year, the island had largely become an American protectorate. Following the war, the North and South colonies of the island united, acting under one governorship. In 1953, Greenland's colonial status was ended, and it was made an integral part of the Kingdom of Denmark, gaining home rule in 1979. In 2009, all matters other than defense and foreign policy were transferred to the regional parliament.
Wow, that was a lot of information. Again, lots of new names and new ideas that, I haven't explored or seen. So, but what I can see is there were many fights for control of Greenland. So I'm just going to show this quick timeline, kind of a little summary of what that video kind of talked about. So just see the history of Greenland every year, and then you can share your thoughts kind of like on the history and any things that you notice. So thank you, and keep your hand up. I think this video will also just help or enhance your question or comments. But look at this, just a history of Greenland, just visually. So I think it's very, very interesting. Again, 1930s, yeah, 80, 1500. There's Iceland over there, but there's Greenland right there. And the capital is different monarchs. Greenland is the dark portion that you see. They're going up north. You see they keep occupying more of the coast area. Yep, claimed but unseized territory. So there's the North and South Greenland that we were talking about. Now which is North and South. Monarch changes, of course. Yep, it's still North and South for decades, as you can see. There was Norway was right there for a brief instant. It was part of the United States, and then it became its own area. Now it's just Greenland, and just cool to look at the history of the country. Hans Island up there, was a big bit that was mentioned. Yep, the capital of Greenland changed. Yep, again, that Hans Island controversy was going in and out, whether it was part of Greenland. That self-rule within Danish realm. Yep, and even again, that Hans Island, like half of it is Greenland, half of it is not. Again, it's quite interesting just to look at the history and just know what's going on. So yeah, that was the history of Denmark from like 1300 till now. So just any thoughts on the videos, anything that stuck out to you? Yes, thank you so much, Anne, for sharing. What do you think of these videos?
I thought it was very interesting, but what really caught my attention was that it wasn't until the 1950 something that Greenland actually became their own country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I go right here, this is, where was it, 54? It was right before, like 47, it was still North and South Greenland. And then by the 50s, yes, it became just Greenland by itself.
Yeah. And I was amazed at that. I did not realize that. And of course, when you're studying this stuff when you're in school, and they don't even teach this stuff anymore. They don't even teach geography and history that much anymore. So that was amazing to me. So
thank you so much, Anne. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
No problem. So that was just a little bit of history of Greenland. I really appreciate that. And now let's move on to some culture. So the culture of Greenland and some things that, again, I did not know. I quite enjoyed some of these videos. So let's learn more about the local people and, of course, culture of Greenland. So I hope you enjoy and learn something new.
Greenland sits at the edge of the North Atlantic. A place where sled dogs play in the summer and labor during the winter. Where fields of floating ice and snow are ruled by polar bear kings and queens. Denmark is the sovereign state of this island, including the inlet town of Tasiilaq and the island settlement of Kulusuk. Only 20 miles of road exist in all of Greenland, so no roads lead to Tasiilaq. The community is reached by sea and air. Once, shaman communicated with spirits by way of the drum dance, protecting themselves from Tupalak carvings and avenging spirits harnessed by lesser shaman. Now, the drum dance is primarily a means of self-expression. Between 2011 and 2014, Greenland has lost over 1 trillion tons of glacial ice. Some of these calving glaciers gave birth to icebergs that then slowly melt away in the ocean water.
My name is Niels. I was born in West Greenland, Sisimiut. Then we moved here in 1992 with my mother. I'm always wishing with my father to inside around here with salmons. The weather changing fast now. Last year we have more ice around here, but this year the ice it's gone fast. This one can be melting a couple of years, 6 years more. If you can see the top of the ice, and then you can see only 10% on the top and 19% of the water.
Can you imagine seeing one of those in real life? Wow.
My name is actually Simuyok Wilhelm Kunitsi, but my names have been changed for certain reasons, and I've completely changed it to Simuyok Wilhelm Kunitsi because Kunitsi is my grandfather's real name before he was baptized. It's quite important for me to have this Kunitsi name. Drum dancing, it's more like in a family. It's a family tradition. And my great-grandfather held this drum dancing. And he passed it on to my grandfather. And then same thing from my grandfather to my grandmother. One morning, my grandmother, when I awoke, I wasn't alone in the house. All my uncles was out hunting. And I sat down on bed, and my grandmother sat beside me, and she pointed to the floor. I looked down at the floor and I saw a drum. And my grandmother said, Simoyo, you have to pick up the drum. I looked at my grandmother and said, Grandma, I don't know how to do a drum dance. I don't even know how to hold a drum. And my grandmother said to me, Simoyo, it's in here. And ever since that day, I picked the drum up. I never let it go. So in the evenings, once everybody has eaten and settled down, what they do is put the drum in the middle of the floor, and one by one they get up and do a drum dance and express themselves, what they have done during the day, what they have seen, what they have felt. But for me, drum dancing, it's more like I would rather be out in the wilderness, away from the town or villages, and below a mountainside where no one else is around. I do a drum dance and let my voice out, and let all my feelings out with this drum dance. And later on, it makes my body feel lighter. It makes me feel good.
To the north, the aurora borealis can often be seen dancing to its own beat for much of the year. During the summer months, the sun shines 24 hours a day. Greenland's people and their distinctive sense of place endures. The drum dance, the Tupelek. And the tie to the land, the sea, and the life of the Arctic.
Wow. Wow, that was just so, again, interesting seeing their culture with the drum dancing, with just this different information, and the way they live is just so different. If anyone would like to share their thoughts on today or this video, on their culture, what you thought of their family tradition, if you'd like to share, you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand. I'm just real quick, I'm just going to go to the weather app, right? And I'm just going to search for Greenland. I just want to see what like the temperature in Greenland right now. Let me try to, right now it's 50 degrees in Greenland. And you can just see the different in this part of Greenland per se. But you can look up that information as well with your weather app. So again, any thoughts or any thoughts on that video? Just about the glaciers, about the traditions. Hey, Mr. Ronald, I'm not sure about that. Uh, I would definitely see if I could look it up and see that information. And I see well, I see you have your hand raised too, Miss Wanda, but I'm also sad that the glaciers and icebergs are disappearing. You have anything else to share on that, Miss Wanda? You can hit unmute in the middle. There you go.
When you hear a lot about the the how do you say it, when the warning, the weather is changing, and how people are not taking heed to what's going on in the environment, and you think about their environments disappearing. Like when he said you can look at the top of the glacier and you can usually, I'm sure you couldn't have seen the top of the glacier, because what did he say? You can look at the top and 90% below it is water. But when you think about glaciers, when you look at any history or any movies or anything, you never saw anything but the glaciers and the icebergs or what have you. And now it's like the animals are going to decrease, their livelihood, because they don't have what they need in their environment. It's just like all the condos going up around in the DMV, because all the spaces where the deers and foxes and bears, habitat is being destroyed. So, it's just sad to me to hear that, global warming is real.
Yes. It's so real. I have a 2 videos from now, I have a specific video on climate change. So I think that'll be very interesting. Thank you, Anne. If you could keep your hand up, I'd really appreciate that. We have quite a few videos today, but keep your hand up. I really appreciate that. Kind of going along with that and just looking at ice and glaciers and just their environment. This quick video just talks about, again, the indigenous or Inuit culture in Greenland. So I hope you enjoy and learn something new. Oh, wow. Wow, again, that was a very interesting video. You saw the drum dancing that the previous video talked about, but especially that kayak, oh my goodness. Just seeing that person just go in the water and come back out and do it again. That was amazing to see. And just, how they prepare their food and, those dogs, oh my goodness, like just being able to like tame them and just, be able to control them and stuff, it's just amazing to see in things. Anne, did you want to share something about this video?
Yes, I was like you when he went in the water. That scared me. I thought he was gonna drown or something. But that's amazing, and they do that every day. I mean, that's kind of scary.
Hey, they definitely live differently
Yeah,
than we
yeah,
do. That's what I can say, and we just have to always appreciate how some things are so much easier in other places and just the regular everyday life.
yeah. Going
So
under like that. Were they actually fishing, or
I don't know. I
I
don't
couldn't
know. They
grasp
look.
what they were doing.
It must be, or it could be a sport. I'm not sure. It could be another tradition. I'm was very intrigued by it, but it could be for fishing. It could have been, or it could have, just been practice. Maybe because there, I can imagine the water is very, very, very cold. So maybe they were training. Because if you go down under, you got to know what to do. To get back up, etc. So I don't know,
Yeah,
but I hope, bless all of them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. You're right about that, Alex. Oh, and to answer the question Ronald asked, yes, Trump did try to buy Greenland.
Mm. Well,
He
I
doesn't have
appreciate you
enough money
sharing.
now. They don't. He doesn't have enough money now because he's got to pay all that money to that lady. But
Oh, thank you
but
so much for sharing, and I really
yeah.
appreciate your comments and just you being interested in those kayaks as well. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and our last video, as mentioned before, was on that climate change. Just Greenland. It's literally the video says Greenland struggles to adapt to social, cultural changes from climate change. So climate change affects many different parts of many different countries in the world. So we're kind of have to see that in this video. This video was posted in 2021. So just we're in 2024 now, so just kind of keep that in your mind, okay? But hope you enjoy and see something new.
The village of Kulusuk is remote, wild and still in touch with the old ways. Just 200 people live here. Even so, it's one of the larger communities on the thinly populated east coast of Greenland. Sled dogs sit out the end of summer, eager for the winter snows. Humpbacks blow. Just one of the whale species that feast in these rich seas. Here, to a degree, life still depends on the yield of the Arctic waters, as it has done for thousands of years. Justus Utwak still hunts and fishes for a living.
I have 6 hooks we put to water. Every time we catch 6 fish. 6 hooks, 6 fish, every time.
But things are changing on multiple fronts. After millennia of subsistence living, the Inuit are in the middle of a social and cultural transformation as Greenland seeks its place in the wider world. And it's happening at precisely the moment climate change is upending the environment. These empty houses tell a story of a population that's pretty much halved in 20 years or so. And those that have gone have either moved to the nearest town of Tasiak here on the east coast, or even further afield to the capital Nuuk on the other side of Greenland. And for those that remain, well, they live in this warming world of ours. And it's a world that their ancestors would scarcely recognise. Mountain guide Matt Spenceley has lived among the Inuit in Kulusuk for 20 years, working with tourists who've come for the adventure of the wild. He's seen firsthand how fast things have changed.
I think because the year and the rhythm of the seasons is so important to the people here, in the sense that the ice forms in early winter and breaks in early June usually, and then that's tied in with all the animals arriving, the fish and the seals and the whales. When all those patterns become kind of messed up, and essentially that is the case for people, they just don't recognise them anymore. Yeah, I think it's a huge challenge for people's way of life.
Everything is on an epic scale here, with 30 metres under the glacier. You think about this, it's replicated underneath all the glaciers.
Yeah, absolutely. So anywhere that melt is going on, and that's particularly pertinent this summer because that's obviously also happened even up in the summit of the ice cap at over 3,000 metres. That melt's happening and that water has to go somewhere.
Here in the Arctic, the old and the new are now side by side. The future for both in these changing times is hard to discern. What is certain is the wonder and the power of the natural world, and the real and present danger created by upsetting its balance. Nick Clark, Al Jazeera, Kulusuk, Greenland.
Wow, again, climate change just affecting different people and forcing them to move or really have to adapt, and them saying that their ancestors would scarcely recognize their land today. I think that goes for many different places, but for here, it's you could definitely see the difference. It's still beautiful though. The greenery, the houses, the water is really, really beautiful. So it's just sad that, you know, maybe generations from now on that folks won't be able to admire or see things the way that we've seen it and our ancestors have. So I hope you enjoyed and again just gained a new perspective today. Our last video today is on fun facts. So just some shocking facts about Greenland that you might not know. You can share any ones that you like in particular. Again, try to have maybe some notes next to you so you can maybe write down your favorite fact, and then we'll move on to our trivia. But I hope, again, you've enjoyed today so far. So again, this is 12 facts about Greenland that you might not have known.
12 facts about Greenland that you might not know. Greenland is without a doubt the destination in the Arctic that sees the fewest tourists in the summer and is also the one that the least amount of people are familiar with. It is also one of the most fascinating locations in the world. Greenland is enormously enormous and incredibly white, two features that undoubtedly both contribute to the attractiveness and make it more than a bit frightening to plan a visit. If you have ever taken even a cursory look at a global map, you are bound to be aware of these facts. Greenland is an Arctic conservation area comparable to only a few others, both on land and within the oceans that shape it, and it is populated by a historic Inuit culture that has developed to the rhythm of its own drum. However, size and ice aren't the only things that Greenland has going for it. There is so much more to it than that. Before you start making travel plans to Greenland, you should familiarize yourself with the following really fun facts about Greenland. Take a look. 1. Greenland really was green. Why is Greenland still named Greenland if it is always frozen over? Greenland is a white Arctic country because of all the snow and ice that blankets it. If it's not green, then why is it called Greenland? Well, this is surely one of the most interesting facts about Greenland that you might not know. But don't worry, the story isn't that complex. The murderer Eric the Red of Iceland, who was sent there, is responsible for the island's unusual moniker. He chose the name Greenland in the belief that it would encourage immigration. South Greenland, where Eric the Red made his home, is surprisingly lush during the summer months. According to researchers, however, Greenland was a lush greenery over 2.5 million years ago. New research shows that ancient Earth was chilled, kept for millions of years, buried beneath roughly 2 miles of ice. 2. World's largest island. Greenland is a huge island around the area of Western Europe. Remember that it is the world's 12th biggest nation while making plans for your trip. When additional islands in the vicinity are included in, the total land surface of Greenland rises to 2.16 million square kilometers. That's 836,330 square miles. An Arctic ice extends over about 80% of whole land area. While the ice-free region is small compared to the rest of the planet, it is nevertheless around the area of Sweden. Among the world's least populous nations, its 56,480 residents make it a rarity in terms of population density.
56,000? There's more people in DC than the whole country of Greenland. Oh my goodness, that's just a funny thing to think about. 56,000 people.
3. Greenland is an autonomous country. Another fun fact about Greenland is that in spite of being a part of Denmark, Greenland operates independently as a sovereign nation. Greenland has really been historically and culturally linked to Europe for the better part of 1,000 years, despite its North American location. Denmark has had settlements in Greenland as of 1721. In 1953, the nation officially became a part of Denmark. After being awarded home rule by Denmark in 1979, Greenland was then inaugurated into extended self-rule in 2009, providing even more authority and responsibility to the Greenlandic government. Greenland will be able to take up additional duties from Denmark in accordance with the new framework as and when it is ready to do so. 4. Greenland has the lowest population density of almost any country on the planet. Despite its size, the city is home to barely 56,000 people. That translates to a population density of only 0.03 individuals per square kilometre. There is plenty of space to be alone even in the nation's capital, as the population is not fairly spread out and no one lives in the great majority of the island. 5. Greenland is home to the largest national park in the world. Greenland's whole northeastern corner is a single enormous national park. The Greenlandic government requires special authorization to enter this area, which it has protected since 1974, when it was first established and enlarged to its present size. 6. Inuit culture. 88% of modern-day Greenlanders are either Inuit, mostly Kalalit, or a hybrid of Danish and Inuit ancestry. Only 12% are not of European heritage, most of them are Danes. In reality, Greenlanders take offence to the term Eskimos, preferring instead the terms Inuit or Kalalit, the latter of which literally translates to Greenlander in the indigenous Kalalitsu tongue. The Inuit people of Greenland have a deep sense of solidarity with their Inuit brothers and sisters in places like Canada and Alaska, and their languages are even linguistically similar. 7. A multilingual nation. In Greenland, most people are bilingual in Danish and Greenlandic, mostly Kalaallisut. Since Home Rule was declared in 1979, both languages have been used in official capacities. Today's youth get instruction in both languages, in addition to the more widely spoken English. Greenlandic is an intriguing language with a rich history. It is connected to other Inuit languages of Canada, such as Inuktitut. Greenlandic vocabulary like igloo and kayak have been borrowed into other languages. The cities of Nuuk and Sisimiut, Greenland's two largest, both have active cultural scenes. Both cities boast huge yearly music festivals and cultural centres that present a broad variety of events throughout the year. Akiswenerit in Nuuk, Arctic Sounds in Sisimiut. 8. Greenland has no roads. Are you ready for the most amazing fun fact about Greenland? Because of the tiny population, the Greenland ice sheet, the mountainous landscape, and the many deep fjords that create the coastline, Greenland has an extremely sparse road network. All roads pretty much end at the city limits. 9. Greenland has the most northerly capital city in the world, Nuuk. Nuuk and Reykjavik both claim to be the northernmost capital. However, Nuuk just edges out Reykjavik. We must concede, however, that Reykjavik, Iceland is the northernmost state capital of an autonomous country, since Greenland remains a member of the Kingdom of Denmark. Nuuk also has a national theatre, 4 galleries, and every other year the massive Nuuk Nordisk Culture Festival, when creatives from all throughout the Nordic countries gather to share ideas and present their work. There are also several smaller entertainment and cultural events hosted in different cities and villages all throughout the nation. 10. Midnight sun. From May 25th to July 25th, the sun doesn't really set, and it remains viewable all day long and night each year. What's known as the midnight sun is a really remarkable natural phenomena that everyone should see at least once in their lives. When you are more north, the dates are more precise, yet even when you are further south, the sun never sets. As a result, you're stuck in a state of perpetual evening. However, in the winter, the sun does not rise at all for many months in regions above the Arctic Circle. Greenland celebrates their state holiday on June 21st, the summer solstice and the longest day of the calendar year. Locals love spending time outside, whether it's to soak up some rays or cook up a feast on the grill. 11. There are more boats than cars in Greenland. More Greenlanders have boats than vehicles, since the water and fjords make up the country's most comprehensive highway network. In many of the smaller towns you won't find any cars, but you will find numerous boats moored along the water's edge. There are no roads or railways connecting the many communities throughout the 2.16 million square kilometres of area. The town's internal roadways peter out at the city limits. Any distance more than a few miles between settlements requires the use of an aircraft, boat, helicopter, snowmobiling or dog sledding. In the summer, you may often see folks out on the fjords, since boats are unquestionably the most common method of transportation. 12. Whaling and fishing. Fishing is a major industry in Greenland. Moreover, 90% of Greenland's exports come from the country's fishing industry. Greenland's primary source of revenue comes from fishing, namely the shrimp and fish industries. Greenland imports practically everything it needs, with the exception of fish and shellfish and other species killed in Greenland, such as whales and seals. To prevent overfishing, whales, seals and fish are allotted to certain administrative regions. It is illegal to catch blue whales or any other protected species. Meat from whales and seals may only be eaten domestically and cannot be exported. Many different kinds of whales stop over in Greenland every year on their way north or south. Since the waters surrounding Greenland are frequented by whales and the playful humpbacks in particular, it's not hard to find cruises designed to bring you as near to these majestic animals as possible without disturbing them. Greenland remains one of the world's most mysterious and unexplored regions, despite its spectacular scenery, unique species, ice-filled fjords and vibrant tundra. Such unusual information and sights are just a few of the many reasons why Greenland is a one-of-a-kind travel destination. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell.
Wow. Again, all different fun facts. I love the one about the roads and the population density and just again learning more about their country. Would anyone like to share their favorite fact that they learned before we move on to trivia? Anyone like to share? You can raise your hand. You can also unmute yourself as well if you like to share. You have again your favorite fun fact.
I was just amazed at how little amount of people live there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
56,000 people. They probably got 56,000 people living in Washington, D.C. almost.
Yeah, there's more people in DC than Greenland, so that's just a funny thing to think about. Yeah,
and I like the about the whales. How many different? I didn't know they had that many species of whales.
Mm-hmm.
When you say whale to me, I'm thinking a whale is a whale. You know.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to share their favorite fun fact? And anything that they learned today that was interesting that you just want to share? Okay, first up is Yvonne, then Gracie, and then Miss Wanda. So hi, Yvonne. How's it going?
Oh, fine. Thank you, Alex. That was very interesting. But it was interesting to note that Greenland has the largest national park in the world.
That whole area right there, the Northeast part. I did not know that either.
Right. So that was interesting. Thank you so much.
No problem, Yvonne. Thank you so much for sharing. And Gracie, what was your favorite fun fact?
I like the fact that we're talking about the roads. They don't have much roads. You know, their transportation is mostly by air or boats, sleds, and so forth. And also their diet, they eat whale and fish and seal. And they're not allowed to export it.
I know, that was so interesting. I can only think of the environmental reasons or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's that when they said that kind of piqued my interest as well. That they got to keep it domestic.
I read earlier they were saying the reason they didn't allow that is because they want to make sure that they have enough to sustain them. I guess if they're allowed to kill export it, they wouldn't have enough to keep them going, so they don't allow them to send it out.
Which makes sense because I'm assuming that it's harder to get food in than out of Greenland. So they need it for them to survive. So that makes total sense.
Yeah. But that's it. Those are the two things that kind of stood up for me.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Gracie. Thank you so much.
Also that it's the world's largest island. Alex. Yeah.
Never. You think of other islands, you think of other places, but you don't really think of Greenland. But yeah, you see how huge it was, especially when we saw it in the map towards the beginning, how huge that country is. But most of it, the folks are living on the coast because those are the warmer areas. Everything else is pretty much uninhabitable because of the weather, and especially with the changes going on right now. I hope Greenland is okay in like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to share that the one thing that I thought was interesting and which is good to know, is that their culture, their Danish heritage, is Inuit and not Eskimo.
Yeah, the verbiage, they prefer Inuit versus Eskimo because it can be seen as a little derogatory.
Right.
I would assume.
So that's good to know. Because if you don't know a person's culture and you'll come off just being disrespectful. And how it's an incredibly enormous, because when you think about Greenland, you think about, okay, well, it's not all that green, right?
Yes, it's Greenland is ice, Iceland is green, you know.
Right. And that the sun, like the sun is not out in the wintertime. So the thing I related that to was Alaska. How they have that period where it's like pitch dark, like real.
That Arctic Circle probably goes through, like that we saw on the map. The Arctic Circle probably goes through Alaska. So, like they said, the languages are similar. Their cultures may be a little similar in a way. So, it was just really interesting to see that.
And it's a part. It's linked to. It's a part of Denmark and linked to Europe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that history in the beginning. It went through not a tumultuous, but you see that there were many different parties in different countries and different things involved with Greenland, just trying to figure out where it belongs. You know, it took so many hundreds of years and stuff to do that.
So I guess it's best to travel in South Greenland because it's lush in the summertime.
Oh yeah, right now, as you saw, if I go back to the weather real quick, right now it's if I go to Greenland, I think it said it's 51 degrees. So if it's July right now, you see there's a lot of rain too, but it's 51 degrees right there as well. So you can only imagine how it is really actually in the winter, how cold it may be. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, Miss Wanda. I appreciate you sharing that. Yes, Yvonne, and then we'll have to go to our trivia, okay?
Yes, I was going to say that how do they sleep when the sun never sets between May 25th and July 25th? It's that the sun does not set.
Yeah, they certainly did say that. I cannot, I've never lived that. I think that would be a once in a lifetime experience in that way to do so, and just kind of living in that way. We know day and night as day and night, and you know, we've lived like that, but in some other parts of the country, the weather and the sun and the moon can act so much differently, which is just amazing to think about.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that comment. Thank you so much, Yvonne. And we are going to do our trivia for the day. So this is more of a review of kind of what we learned. So there's not going to be any out there questions. But again, if you'd like to share your response, I have some multiple choice and some free answer. Again, if you'd like to share your answer to the question, please raise your hand in Zoom. I'll go based off of the order of hands in that I can see on my participants list. So again, if you like to be in the running for a prize today, please raise your hand in Zoom when we get to our questions. But thank you all so much for attending. I hope you learned something new about Greenland. I know I did. If you haven't visited, hey, at least you know a little bit, you know, a little bit of everything regarding the history, culture, and fun facts. So let's go ahead and get started with our trivia. First up is a multiple choice question. And again, these all were talked about at some point during the session. Greenland is also known as what? A, land of the rising sun, B, land of the midnight sun, C, land of ice, or D, land of greenery. If you'd like to share your answer, please raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, thank you, Miss Clement. What is your answer?
It's the land of the midnight sun.
Ding, 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 land of the midnight sun. Good job. In central Greenland, the sun does not set from the end of May until the end of July. Here, sun is visible for 24 hours. Therefore, Greenland is known as the land of the midnight sun. Thank you so much, Ms. Clement. You're in the running for a prize today.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's just so interesting to know and to think of. And just imagine the sun being visible for 24 hours a day. I love nighttime, so I would be very shocked just to see that. But thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Ms. Clement. Our next question is a free response question. Very mentioned throughout the session. What is the capital of Greenland? Okay, very fast. Ms. Gracie, what is your answer?
Nuuk.
And there you go. It is Nuuk. Nuuk, Greenland's capital, is a small city on the country's southwest coast. Its large fjord system is known for waterfalls, humpback whales, and icebergs. The waterfront is dotted with brightly colored houses against a backdrop of Siak Mountain. Greenland National Museum has mummies and Inuit skin boats, while the Nuuk Art Museum displays local works. The Kata Cultural Center offers films, concerts, and arts. And look at that, all this information. The mayor, the university there, the population, it was 17,000 in 2017. It's about 266 square miles, and you can see its elevation as well. So the more you know. Thanks so much, Gracie. Good job. Thank you so much. All right. And our last question for today. And again, this was mentioned in the session. Who discovered Greenland? A, Christopher Columbus, B, Marco Polo, C, Eric the Red, or D, Vasco da Gama? Okay, first up is Ms. Jenkins. What is your answer?
My answer is C, Eric the Red.
Ding, 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 Eric the Red, good job. According to Icelandic sagas, it was during his exile from Iceland that Eric discovered Greenland. Eric the Red is credited with discovering Greenland and being the first permanent European settler in the country. As if that weren't enough Arctic exploration street cred, Eric also raised remarkable progeny. His son, Leif the Lucky, believed to be the first European to land on the North American continent before even Christopher Columbus. And he is also credited as the first Viking to lead ships to Eastern North America, making the family legendary amongst famous explorers. So good job. Thank you so much, Ms. Jenkins, and I really appreciate your participation as well.
You're welcome.
No problem. And those are our 3 questions for today. I really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get our wheel started. And again, thank you all so much for attending our session today. I hope you learned something new with Greenland. You know, there was a limited time to able to, you know, create this presentation and just to do, you know, the research and figure out what, you know, is interesting about it. So I really appreciate your understanding and your patience today. And again, I hope you learned something new. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's go ahead and play our wheel, where again, one of you all will win a prize today. So again, we have Miss Clement, Miss Gracie, and Miss Wanda as correctly answering one of our trivia questions today. So let's see who wins. 3, 2, 1. Let's see who wins. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. And we have Miss Wanda Jenkins as our winner. So again, congratulations, Miss Wanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Yep, and you have won a stylus pen for your iPad today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be sending that out next week, okay?
Okay.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Miss Wanda. Thank you so much for attending our session today. And I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you all so much for attending our lunch club today. Next Friday at 12, we'll of course be visiting another country within North America. So I hope you get to check out our daily email and get to see where we'll be visiting next. And I really appreciate you coming on. At 1:30 today, we'll be doing module 6, learning how to utilize Zoom and how to add a virtual background. But again, thank you all so much for attending. And let's say congratulations to Ms. Wanda. And let's all wish each other a wonderful weekend, but I will see you all at 1:30. Thanks so much, and see you all soon. Congratulations, Miss Wanda.
Congratulations, Wanda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day. I hope
Good job.
Bye.
See y'all
you.
later. I'll
See you
see you
I
all
hope you all
later.
enjoyed today.
See you this
I love
afternoon.
you.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Hope you
2 o'clock,
enjoy.
y'all.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed
Bye.
today. Thank you
See you
so
2
much.
o'clock.
Very
Have a good
enjoyable.
day.